everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Now today we have a very special feature of the latest addition to the Rwandan Nautical 1 ounce gold BU series in the form of this absolutely stunning coin, the Victoria. Really awesome stuff. I'm going to have a good close look at this, learn a little bit about it. It was the first ship to circumnavigate the globe, and talk a little bit about the series as well. Now this has a micro mintage of just 100, so it's unlikely that you're going to see very many other videos featuring this coin here on YouTube. That said, a channel which most likely will is SHTF, and credit where credit's due. SHTF was the one that got us interested in this coin in the very first edition of it in 2017. He did a potential coin of interest video and it sang to us, it spoke to us, and we jumped on that bandwagon and picked it up. So huge thank you and shout out to SHTF. If you haven't checked his channel out, there's a link down in the description below. And subsequently we've picked up the 2018 and now 2019 editions of these, and as you can see, the mintages have stayed the same each year of 100, which is very important, and we'll talk about that as we go throughout the video as well. But they're shaping up to be an absolutely stunning series, and I'm really very excited about them. Here's all three of them. Let's have a look at all three of them up close together. I'm not going to rehash the stories behind the ships in the first two coins again. I'll put links down in the description to the featurette videos I did on those two, but it started with the Santa Maria, then it went to HMS Endeavour, and now we have the Victoria. And you've got to admit that all three of them together look absolutely sublime. Look at that, it's like a fleet of ships sailing on the seas together, and what a series this is shaping up to be. You get the light just right on all of them. Just love the conceptualized design of the kind of the globe in the background with the compass and the sextants, and then of course the detail on the ships. Just absolutely stunning, and I'm really impressed with the quality of these coins, considering they are just technically BU coins, not proof coins. Now, let's talk about the coin series before we go into some of the history of Victoria, the ship itself. So these are premium gold BU coins. It's really important to remember that. They have very hefty premiums on top of them, even more so if you are not lucky enough to get in early. With these coins, it's very much the early bird definitely catches the worm, because the allocation that various dealers will get, they'll drip feed to the market and increase the prices each time they sell one of these coins. And you know, I purchased this from our favourite Belgian bullion dealer, goldsilver.be, and they have a notification system. You can sign up for emails when these coins are going live, and we did, and we sat in front of their website basically for the better part of a day waiting for it to click live. When it did, we pulled the trigger straight away so that we could lock it in at a lower price than some of the later coins that were released from them and other dealers. It's not just goldsilver.be that use that kind of questionably ethical tactic to make a little bit of extra money. It's not uncommon, and it's just one of those things you have to deal with and contend with. So I also want to put another little disclaimer in here saying that I think these coins are fantastic. I love them. I think they're great. I really do think they've got potential to earn a bit of money, but that's not any kind of guarantee. If you're watching this and thinking that it's right for you because you think it's going to make you lots of money, it's very risky. And these three coins represent a fair amount of capital locked up, waiting for the right time to sell and release that capital. It's nice to know that they've got an underlying value of 1 ounce worth of gold, and I can't really see them being sold off for a great deal less than their kind of issue prices. But that said, they do have an inherent level of risk with them, so please exercise extreme caution if these coins are something that you're going to consider investing in now or in the future. Now, that said, they have, of course, only a mintage of 100, so let's talk a little bit about that. Good thing is that the mintage has been kept the same in 2019, as well as 2018. We did see with the other very popular Rwandan animal series, what's called the Zodiac series, Lunar series, that's the word I was looking for, that they increased the mintage from 100 to 188, I think, after the first one, and that almost kind of killed the aftermarket value of subsequent coins. Keeping the mintage at 100 for these is really important, I think, because you know, at the end of the day, there's only 100 of the first one, which means there's only ever going to be a maximum of 100 people that can get a full set of these coins. So if you increase the mintage of any of the subsequent releases of these particular coins, the earlier ones with the lower mintages are automatically going to be a huge boon for anybody out there who wants to try and backdate and complete the set. So our theory, our practice here, our strategy, I should say, going forward is, if at any point it looks like the mintage of these is going to go up, or it does in fact go up, that will be the last coin that we pick up in the series. I think that that makes more sense for us because it will diminish the potential returns on the coins coming up in the future. But it will also increase the value of all of these other coins which have the lower mintage than the potential maximum of all of the others. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. You know, this is a series which I love, I think is great, but I've also got my kind of financial hat on here to say that it's not necessarily worth throwing, you know, 1,800 euros at each coin subsequently if they have a higher mintage, because I just don't think that those coins would appreciate particularly well compared with these ones. So it's very nice to see that the mintage is kept at 100. The disadvantage of having only 100 as a mintage is that these coins do not come up for sale very often at all. And trying to find a relative market price point for these that have been sold and successfully sold at those prices is almost impossible, because they hardly ever come up for sale. And when they do, people can kind of dictate whatever price point they want to charge for people. So there's a whole kind of kettle of fish that goes with that side of things, and it's very difficult to know. And I do think perhaps that one of the revenue, or one of the sort of potential ways to release the revenue of these coins, is to go back to some of the dealers out there that have sold these and potentially have people in the wings waiting for these coins and ask the dealers what they'd give to us, and it might be a quicker and better way to sell them, because these are not going to be fast coins to sell in any stretch of the imagination. So definitely represent a pretty high risk, but ultimately hopefully it'll have a bit of reward in it too. So that's kind of my thoughts on the series. I do think they're really good. Let's learn a little bit now about Victoria, because the Victoria ship itself has a fantastic history behind it, in that it was the first ship that ever circumnavigated the globe all the way back in 1519. It set out from Seville, completing its voyage on the 6th of September in 1522. So 500 years ago in September this year, this ship set sail on its fateful voyage around the globe. Now, it was part of an expedition of 5 ships that set out for sail: the Trinidad, the San Antonio, the Concepcion, and the Santiago. And of those 5 ships, only one returned, which was this ship, the Victoria. And apparently the Santiago apparently did as well, which turned around and came back, I think, halfway through the voyage. So technically, I suppose that one did, but this was the only one that managed to get around the entire globe and circumnavigate it, taking 3 years to do so, which is, you know, incredible. It shows what the sort of feat it was back in those times, 500 years ago, remember, as well. The whole expedition started with 265 men aboard all 5 ships. Of those, only 18 survived and returned to Seville on the Victoria, which is quite staggering. The famous captain, Ferdinand Magellan, and if you haven't heard his name, Google him. He's an absolutely incredible sailor of his time, and I've remembered his name all the way back when I was younger and playing Civilization. There was a world wonder that you could build in the game called Magellan's Expedition, and it gave all of your ships extra movement and vision at sea. It was very, very cool. Anyway, I remember Magellan from when I was young, so it's really kind of cool to see that come home and find out more about him in this particular voyage. Sadly, he did not survive the voyage. He died in the Philippines in 1521. And it's really interesting to look at the kind of history of this particular expedition. And when you look at a photograph of the actual ship, the Victoria, the ship itself, and here's its representation in the gold coin. But when you look at a photograph of the replica that's been built in like the 1990s, you think, goodness me, how did that ship survive like the huge southern oceans and survive going around the entire world? And it seems barely so, because it was very, very much in completely disarray. Apparently, by the time it got to the Pacific, it needed to have constant water pumping to even keep afloat. The sails were all torn and ragged. And of course, back then, there was nowhere that you could set into port and just get some spare parts for your ship. You had to do all of the repairs and restoration work on the ship as you go, or just from the natural resources that were potentially available. So really interesting stuff there. And it's amazing that it actually even came to come back to Europe in the first place. Now, when it did finally come back to Europe, it was carrying a huge supply of spices, which supposedly were worth more than the entire expedition of all 5 ships put together, funded by King Charles V, I think it was, all the way back in the early 1500s. He was the one that sanctioned the voyage and financed the voyage. And when it returned with these huge volume of spices, which were worth more than the entire value of the expedition, ultimately that's a job well done. And it's interesting to think, was it done specifically for money, or was it done to further the kind of endeavours of humankind and circumnavigate the globe just because we can? And it's that same kind of question, I suppose, which comes up now and time again with like things like space exploration and travel. Should we even bother, or should we just stay at home? And it's it raises lots of interesting questions that you can really relate back to even 500 years ago. Maybe it's worthwhile if we endeavour to push the boundaries of our planet and go above and beyond to the stars. Perhaps there will be a very large amount of resources that we could find. Of course, that would have implications for the gold market. If we go and find a solid gold meteorite and bring that home and flood the market with extra gold, then that could be an issue for the gold market. But you know what I'm talking about. It's fascinating stuff. And I'm a historian at heart, studied archaeology at university, and I absolutely love this kind of thing. One of the things I love about coins is they do have history, even if they're modern and they've got this kind of replica style or replication of history on them. You learn about it, and that's really, really important for us. So that's enough of the history of these coins. Let's have one final look at all three of these laid out together, because they are a sight to behold for sure. I really think this is a fantastic series. Let me know down in the comments section which one you think is your favourite. I personally think that the latest one, the Victoria, is my favourite of the bunch, followed by the Santa Maria, and lastly by HMS Endeavour. I don't know why, but I think, well, I know why. I think this one is the last place because it's sailing away from us. So you can see the rear end of the ship, the arse end of the ship, so to speak. I hope that doesn't demonetize this video. But the others you can see coming towards you, which I think just looks a little better in its aesthetics. In terms of the aesthetics of the coin, I mean, I really love the way that they've kept this sort of stylistic design with the kind of the globe, the sextant, the compass and the ship. I think it's fantastic. It looks great. Job well done. Fantastic stuff. And I think it's quite ironic as well that it's coming from a landlocked country that has now a nautical themed ship series. But hey ho, that's the nature of the nature of coin making. Sometimes you do get funny coincidences like that. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section about these coins, whether you like them, whether you have them. It would be very interesting to see if you've picked them up and whether or not you're going to be picking up the future ones in the series or not. I absolutely think these are fantastic, but again, just put my disclaimer at the end of this video. They are a very risky investment, and if you are going to be picking them up, do so with extreme caution. If you liked today's video, please do put a thumbs up on it and share it around on your social media. That would be very helpful for everything that we do here on our channel. And if you want to see future videos from us of different types of coins and things like that, wondrous pieces of gold and silver, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you are already subscribed, please make sure you hit the alarm bell, and then you'll get a notification when those videos go live. Otherwise, thank you one and all for watching. I hope you have a fantastic weekend ahead. And as always, please make sure that you like, share, comment and subscribe for more.